For most of human history, silence didn't exist. Not peaceful silence, not the kind you find in libraries or meditation rooms, real silence. And when humans finally encountered it, something in the brain shifted permanently. You probably think silence is the absence of sound. It isn't. Silence is the absence of attention to sound. And for the vast majority of human existence, there was no such thing. Every moment of every day was filled with noise, constant, unavoidable, impossible to escape. Imagine waking up in a prehistoric camp 40,000 years ago. The moment your eyes open, you hear something. Always something. Insects chirping in the grass, wind moving through leaves, the breath of people sleeping nearby, water moving somewhere in the distance, the calls of animals you cannot see, a baby crying in another shelter, someone coughing, the crackle of a dying fire, footsteps on stone. This was not background noise. This was the entire sonic environment. There was nowhere to go to escape it, no walls thick enough to stop it, no doors to close, no headphones, no white noise machines, no off switch. For a prehistoric human, silence would have been terrifying. Not peaceful, terrifying. Because silence meant something had changed. Silence meant danger. Silence meant the animals had gone quiet before an attack. Silence meant a predator was close. Silence meant isolation from the group. In a world built on acoustic signals, silence was a threat. But then something remarkable happened. Humans invented something that changed everything. Not silence itself. We couldn't create actual silence. We created rooms, enclosed spaces, walls, roofs, structures designed to keep the outside world out. The moment humans built the first real shelter, something unprecedented happened. For the first time in human history, it was possible to experience quiet. Not true silence. You could still hear your own breathing, your own heartbeat, the subtle sounds of people nearby. But quiet, relative quiet. A dramatic reduction in the constant acoustic assault. And the brain noticed. Oh, did it notice. Archaeological evidence suggests that as humans moved from open landscapes into caves and then into constructed shelters, something changed in human consciousness. Not immediately, but gradually over thousands of years. The brain began to develop new capacities, new ways of thinking, new modes of attention. Because quiet does something to the mind that constant noise cannot do, it creates space, mental space, the kind of space where reflection becomes possible, where internal thoughts can be heard, where imagination can unfold. Think about what constant noise actually does to your brain. It keeps you in a state of hypervigilance. You are always listening, always alert, always scanning for threats. Your nervous system never fully settles. Your attention is constantly divided between external survival and internal thought. You can think about immediate threats, about where to find food, about danger, but you cannot think about abstract concepts. You cannot wonder about why things are the way they are. You cannot imagine futures that don't exist. But in quiet, everything changes. In quiet, the brain can rest from its scanning function. The nervous system can settle, and in that settling, something unprecedented becomes possible. Philosophy, art, mathematics, music, religion, the entire category of human thought that is not about immediate survival. Some anthropologists believe that the invention of quiet may have been one of the most important preconditions for the emergence of human civilization itself. Not agriculture, not tools, quiet. The ability to think thoughts that take more than a few seconds to form. And here is where it gets genuinely strange. Because humans became so dependent on quiet for this new form of thinking, that we began to build entire civilizations around the pursuit of it. We built monasteries specifically designed for silence. We created libraries. We developed the concept of meditation, sitting alone in quiet for hours just to hear the sound of your own mind. Monks took vows of silence. Philosophers retreated to quiet rooms to think. Artists created studios to work in peace. Scientists built laboratories with minimal acoustic distraction. All of these were acts of deliberate silence seeking. Humans realized, somewhere along the way, that quiet was not something to fear, it was something to treasure. But then something else happened. Something that might be reshaping human consciousness right now in real time. We industrialized noise. We created machines that never stop. We built cities where silence is nearly impossible to find. We invented technologies, radios, televisions, phones, speakers, that filled every moment with acoustic stimulation. We became obsessed with filling silence. We started calling silence dead air. We filled it with music, with voices, with advertisements, with notifications. And neuroscientists are now beginning to wonder if we are fundamentally altering human consciousness by doing this. Studies on attention and focus show a clear pattern. The more constant acoustic stimulation a person is exposed to, the less capable they become of sustained attention. The ability to focus on a single complex task for hours, something that was common a century ago, is becoming rare. Fewer people can read books without distraction. Fewer people can sit with a single thought long enough to develop it fully. Some researchers believe this is not coincidental. They think that constant noise is literally rewiring our brains. It is training our nervous systems to stay in a state of hypervigilance, not because there are predators anymore, but because our environment is acoustically chaotic. It is teaching our brains to divide attention constantly, to never fully settle. And children growing up in this environment might be developing brains that are fundamentally different from the brains of children who grew up with access to quiet. They might be more reactive, less able to reflect, more anxious, more dependent on external stimulation to feel engaged. Think about what silence actually taught the human brain. When you sit in silence, your mind doesn't stay empty. It fills with your own thoughts, your own memories, your own questions. Silence forces you to pay attention to your own internal world. It forces you to confront loneliness, boredom, confusion, wonder. It forces you to think. And we are systematically removing that experience from human life. This is not about preferring quiet over noise. This is about what gets lost when silence becomes extinct. Some of the deepest work of human consciousness, artistic creation, philosophical thinking, spiritual experience, personal insight, all of it emerges from silence. Not because silence is magical, but because silence is the only condition under which the brain can slow down enough to do this kind of work. You cannot meditate while listening to podcasts. You cannot have a profound realization while scrolling through your phone. You cannot write poetry while watching television. These are not failures of discipline. They are neurological facts. The brain needs quiet to access certain modes of thinking. And here's the thing that keeps me up at night. We are creating a generation of humans who have never experienced real quiet, who have never sat alone with nothing but their own thoughts for more than a few minutes, who have never had to entertain themselves without external stimulation, who have never known what it feels like to be bored enough that their mind starts creating its own entertainment. And we do not yet know what this means for human consciousness. We do not know if we are losing something fundamental. We do not know if the ability to think deeply, to create original art, to experience genuine wonder, is something that requires quiet to develop. But we are conducting the experiment anyway. 40,000 years ago, humans discovered quiet. For the first time, it became possible to experience relative silence, and this triggered the emergence of new human capabilities: philosophy, art, complex thought. The inner world became audible. And now, in the span of just a few generations, we are trying to eliminate silence entirely. We are filling every moment with acoustic stimulation. We are making boredom nearly impossible. We are removing the condition that allowed human consciousness to develop its most extraordinary capacities. The day humans discovered silence, something in the brain shifted permanently. And we are only now beginning to understand what we might lose if we forget how to experience it again. So the next time you find yourself in a moment of quiet, resist the urge to fill it. Don't reach for your phone. Don't turn on a podcast. Don't search for stimulation. Just sit with the silence. Listen to what your own mind has to say when no one else is speaking. You might be surprised what you find in that quiet.